Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to associate myself with the concerns expressed by my Democratic colleagues regarding the President's recent action relating to General Tatum. These next two questions I ask of all nominees who come before any of my committees, very brief yes or no answers. And I'd like to start with Secretary Whitley, followed by Secretary Manasco, then Ms. Pierce and Mr. Hardy. First question, since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature? Secretary Whitley.
No, I have not, Senator.
No.
Can you all unmute yourself for the next question? So Secretary Manasco?
No, I have not.
Mr.
Senator,
Pierce?
no, I have not.
Ms. Pierce, sorry. Mr. Hardy?
No.
Next question, have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct? We'll go down the line again.
No, Senator, I have not.
No, Senator, I have not.
No, Senator.
No, Senator.
Thank you. I have questions for Secretary Whitley. So I would appreciate for this series of questions, very short, basically yes or no responses. In your advanced policy questions responses, you said you contributed to the development of the FY 2021 President's budget. When the Secretary of Defense testified on March 4th, he stated that the FY 21 budget request aims to achieve, and I quote, irreversible implementation of the National Defense Strategy, which includes enhancing missile defense capabilities pursuant to the 2019 Missile Defense Review. Do you agree with Secretary Esper's statement?
Yes, Senator. We made significant investments in the NDS in the 21 budget submission.
Thank you. Secretary Esper also testified that Indo-PACOM is the department's #1 priority, and he made a commitment to defend all 50 United States and territories with, quote, radars and effectors, end quote, as necessary. Do you agree with Secretary Esper's statement?
About the importance of Indo-PACOM and the Pacific Theater, absolutely, Senator.
Thank you. In the DoD budget request, which you informed, it quotes, it increases missile defense capability and capacity to keep pace with adversary missile systems input while investing in a layered defense of the homeland, end quote. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. There was an adding of the multi-layered defense was added in the 21 submission.
And Mr. Whitley, for 4 years, Congress has authorized and appropriated funding for the Homeland Defense Radar Hawaii, HDRH, a key part of a system that provides layered defense of the homeland, something you just committed to. The DoD's own 2019 Missile Defense Review underscores the mission-critical need for building HDRH, and yet you recommended to the Secretary of Defense during the defense-wide review to zero out funding for HDRH in fiscal year 21. You were at CAPE as the acting director during all of the defense-wide review deliberations, and the Secretary of Defense said the zeroing out of the funding for HDRH was due to the delay in sighting. Do you agree with that reasoning?
Yes, Senator. The way it was presented by the Missile Defense Agency to us in the 2021 build is that because of the sighting delays, they were not going to be able to sight in 2021. So the funding was removed in 2021.
Well, of course, we all know that the Missile Defense Agency continues to be very committed to HDRH. So going on, Commander Phil Davidson, Indo-PACOM commander, provided an independent assessment to Congress earlier this year, outlining his resourcing requirements for implementing the National Defense Strategy. This assessment cited an HDRH study dated February 28, 2020, performed by the Cost and Program Evaluation CAPE, as saying, quote, HDRH presents the solution for the gap in our ability to detect, track, discriminate, and defeat, end quote, ballistic, cruise, and hypersonic threats, end quote. He additionally included HDRH as one of the most critical investments to increase joint force lethality, to quote, adequately defend American interests, end quotes. This Cape report that he cites was completed in February, but has still not been released to Congress. When will we see it? You know?
So Senator, so I'm not involved with that process now. I've not involved in CAPE activities. My understanding is that study is underway.
Well, it was completed, so should you get your appointment, would you commit to releasing that report to Congress?
If I'm confirmed, I would expedite. If it's not done, I would ensure that it gets expedited and
Thank you.
take that a very high priority, Senator.
Do you agree with Admiral Davidson's assessment of his theater's requirements and his unfunded priority list request?
I'm sorry, what was that, Senator?
Do you agree with Admiral Davidson's assessment of his theater requirements, which includes the HERH, and his unfunded priority list requests?
I mean, I think we have to see what the analysis says, Senator, but I think there's broad agreement within the department in the analysis I've seen that says we have significant more investments to make in Indo-PACOM theater to fully implement.
Well, clearly, HDRH is something that has been supported by Congress for the last 4 years, and if there's going to be a shift away from funding for HDRs, we would be very interested in what kind of analysis you've done
Very good.
to make
Thank
that
you.
type of change.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Senator Hirono.